Welcome to the second segment of our Inspirations following the journey of Mary. And as we read the second segment, and you put yourself in Mary's shoes, I want you to think about her journey, what she experienced. Luke chapter 2, verse 1. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. And everyone went to their own town to register. So Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and line of David. He went there to register with Mary, who was pledged to be married to him and was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for the baby to be born, and she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. This is the story of Mary giving birth, and it's the story of her journey from Nazareth all the way to Bethlehem. Now, it's a quick read in a scripture verse, and it's a relatively quick drive, maybe 3 hours drive by car. I made it a few years ago, but a physical journey in those days of epic proportions. If you were lucky, maybe you had an animal to ride on. Mary has often been showed on a donkey, and it would have been days and days and days on this donkey, going through the hilly countryside, all the way from Nazareth down into Bethlehem. And if you think about her pregnancy and what she went through on that journey, you think of all the reasons she would have had to be bitter, to be angry. But when you read the story of Mary, you don't sense bitterness or anger. You sense the fact that Mary has said, you know what? Okay. God, whatever you have for me on this journey, I accept it. When she heard from the angel, she said, let it be. Let it be. And I think that's the message for you and I today. We have to just decide to accept the ride, accept the journey that God has for us. Instead of trying to control it, which makes us angry. You ever try to control something and you just got more and more and more angry? Because you can't control some things. You just have to accept them. And I think Mary accepted that God had something in store for her. And I hope you will accept this Christmas that it's not going to be perfect. This is a story of imperfection, right? And the more you idealize Christmas and try to make it perfect, and try to make the dinner perfect, and the party perfect, and the people perfect, and the pictures perfect, you realize you're going to be frustrated. But if you accept it for what it is, an imperfect journey, but in that imperfect journey, you're going to find, may I say, a perfect child? Or may I say, a mess of a manger, and all of the messes that children bring, but inside of it is the divine, is God. Here's the way to have a beautiful Christmas this year. Get to understand that God is in the middle of your mess. God is wrapped up in the daily. The divine and the daily are intertwined together. That the Christ child there in that manger, as she kissed that little baby, she was kissing the face of God. In the middle of your mess and chaos and journey, traffic, you can relate to Mary. That it's not perfect, but it is divine. And I'll tell you one more thing. Until you can find God in the daily, you may never find God. But when you step back and you say, you know what? God is in the middle of all of this mess. This is where I find God. Then you'll begin to touch the face of God. God bless you. Merry Christmas.